Both have really been battered by injuries. Chargers are, for the most part, starting to get healthy. Justin Herbert has carried this team. They're 6-5. It has been a scuffle to get 6-5. Raiders have been beset by youth, injuries, and a lot of mistakes made in the John Gruden era that have really kind of set their defense way back. But the Raiders do have the leading rusher in the league in Josh Jacobs. He's a former star at Alabama, high #1 pick. Took him forever to figure out how to play at the National Football League level. He had an 86-yard touchdown run in overtime last week. He had 226 yards rushing. He's got over 1,300 yards rushing and nearly 1,500 all-purpose yards. So they got a heavy-duty running back. They got Devontae Adams. They got Derek Carr, who still makes plays down the field. And they got a young defense that's starting to get a little bit more competitive. They're going to face Justin Herbert, but the Chargers are still a little bit dinged up at wide receiver. Chargers don't run the football at all. It's Justin Herbert, it's Austin Eckler, a little bit of Keenan Allen, and the Chargers can't stop the run. John, they are giving up 5.53 yards per carry, which is the worst NFL run defense statistic dating back to the year 2000. And they're going to line up, and that's Josh Jacobs who's coming at you. So what do you think in Las Vegas on Sunday?
It's going to be great. I mean, it's a great classic rivalry. You know, I grew up as a Niners and Raiders fan, and so when the Chargers left San Diego, I'm kind of moving my allegiances to those teams. So it was interesting with Josh Jacobs because I noticed this season he was actually performing really well, and I kept thinking, wait a minute, I remember that name. I remember he got drafted, but how many years ago was it that he came out of Alabama?
This is his 5th year. With 4 years, he scuffled and struggled. A little bit about him. He had some injuries. A lot about their inefficiency at quarterback and the inefficiency in the offensive line. But, boy, he is such a different player now. I think it's going to be a toss-up. Which Raider team shows up? That's the big question. But if they can run Josh Jacobs, and if the Bolt defense can't get off the field, then the Chargers would be in big trouble. And, of course, Josh McDaniels, the Raiders coach, is coaching to save his job because everybody around the country thinks this guy might be a great offensive coordinator. He's not a great head coach.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, that defense is a sieve for the Chargers. I mean, what you said, 5.3 yards per carry. I mean, that's ridiculous. So both these teams, what's the Raiders record? How many games have they won?
4-7.
4-7.
But they've won 2 in a row.
All right. Well, okay. So they're trending up. So anytime it's Chargers Raiders, it's always good.
Yeah, but that's old tradition. I don't think the Holy Roller, I'm sorry you're still upset about that, but I don't think the Holy Roller or Ken Stabler or Al Davis, I don't think that's got anything to do with today. When I was doing talk show radio, Raider fans used to bombard my show, and they were just crazy. And I said, that's just great. You went in the back of the garage, and you found that old Super Bowl trophy. It's all dented from 25 years ago. Sorry, that trophy doesn't mean anything for this Sunday's game. And
right.
I'll re-invoke that again. Chargers Raiders, though, it's going to be a fun game. Justin Herbert, Josh Jacobs.